Hi, how y'all doing? It is Friday the 13th. Hello, spooky stuff. Friday the 13th of June, about 7:39 p.m. as of recording this video. Today and last night were quite difficult. Not regarding Joey, he's great. Just Chance being Chance, Murphy riding along everywhere I go. Some difficult stuff with the ex last night. But we are all home now, and things are doing okay. Joey had his tonsils out yesterday morning. I told you all about that last night, and he's doing so good with it. I was very proud of him too, because this morning they had to give him one more IV injection of steroids, and he had an IV in, but the first time they did it, I guess she pushed a little too fast and it hurt, it burned, and he teared up and had a fit, and tried to explain to him, when you get hurt, if you lose control, you start crying and hyperventilating and all this other stuff, you actually make it hurt worse. Because you're not relaxed, your body's not relaxed, and you got to try to stay relaxed. And this morning she pushed it much slower, but it still hurt and burned a little bit. But he just breathed through it, and he said that it still hurt a little bit, but he knew that he had to have it, so he did much better this time, and I was so proud of him. Last night they went off to the playroom at the hospital to give him something to do, and I made that video for y'all last night. They had a little kids piano, somewhat of an elaborate one, but still a little kid piano, but he wanted to play with it. Batteries were bad, so they took it to the nurse, and they had batteries, but they didn't have a screwdriver, so they ended up calling maintenance to come fix this little toy piano. I always carry a multi-tool in my backpack, but I figure it's probably better to not take that to the hospital, because the multi-tool I carry does have a knife blade in it, and they're not as bad as they used to be, but they still don't like you bringing sharp things into hospitals. But maintenance actually came and fixed the toy, and the nurse brought it to him. After he was done playing with it, it was time to get him ready for bed. And the nurse had come and was talking to us about making sure, that he had plenty of something to drink throughout the night. That way, if he woke up coughing, he could immediately have something to drink and lower the risk of damaging his surgery. And this was where, the difficulty for me started last night. My ex-wife's boyfriend, Matt, had long since gone home, gone back to their house. And I know beyond the shadow of a doubt, I know her, that this was extremely unintentional, that she was just responding as she would respond to him the way she used to respond to me. Uh, the nurse had left, and I said, "You want me to go to the nurse's station and see if I can get another Gatorade?" Because they were having him drink Gatorade yesterday. And she looked at me in the most antagonistic way she has looked at me since she left me. And she just said, "No, honey, there's one in the fridge." These little rooms had their own little refrigerators. I don't even know if she caught it. I don't know how I did not react to it, but on the outside, on the inside, I can't explain what it did to me. The way it made me feel. The memories and the feelings and emotions it brought back. I still remember the very first time she called me honey. And it knocked me for a loop. I don't ever want this woman back. I would never take her back. Like I've said before, she is not the woman I fell in love with. But at the same time, I still, nowhere near like I did, but I still do love her. And to hear her say that out of the blue, it did something to me. I don't even think she realized that she didn't say anything about it. I didn't say anything about it. Just a mistake of words. But for just a little while, it was so much more than that to me. And you know, it was just the three of us. Her boyfriend wasn't there, and for just a minute, it felt like we could almost be a family again. Like it had never stopped. And then it came time to read to Joey. I couldn't do it, so she did. And we were sitting on opposite sides of his bed, and he was in bed, and she was reading to him this book he liked. And we were all three of us kind of laughing and different funny parts, and she was hamming it up, you know, giving the different characters personalities, voices. And Joey was more calm with her than I usually see him. And she, you know, politely and unantagonistically asked me if I had any of these books that, you know, he really liked. And I will tell you, I was sitting there, and I was drinking this in like it was the elixir of life, because it did feel almost like we were a family again. And I was intoxicated. I couldn't let it show on the outside, but on the inside I was so euphoric, and at the same time tempering myself, telling myself, you know, this is just your fool heart's reaction This is not real. It's just a flash of a memory. And he finally started to fall asleep. These rooms are really funny shaped in this hospital. They're almost like half a triangle, with the back wall where the headboard of the bed is being the flat edge, and you know, there's windows up against the wall where the point, and then there's a bathroom door and a door out into the hallway, and the room kind of points around a little bit. Very tiny rooms. These rooms would fit in one corner of the smaller rooms at my hospital here in St. Augustine, despite this hospital was, 4 times the size. Very tiny rooms. 2 people were allowed to stay, and they did provision for 2 people to sleep in the room. They had one of the pull-out couches, and they had one of those god-awful hospital recliners. The thing is they were both on the window side of the hospital bed and very close to one another. And I'd never seen this before. At the foot of the bed was a table that was attached to the floor, and had a regular basic hospital chair that could slide up under there, I guess so the kid could draw or whatnot. But this table could not be removed, and there wasn't enough space between the foot of the bed and this table to get the recliner chair out from around that side and to the door side. And my ex asked me if I wanted to alternate with the pull-out, and I said no, you go ahead. She said well, okay, you can at least sleep in the recliner and that'll be something. And then I said no. I said I think I'm gonna probably I think I'm just gonna probably stay up most of the night and watch him, and I'll make do with my little chair over here. And she said, I'm pretty sure you don't have to do that. And I said, no, I'm just gonna stick with my chair over here. I said, it's okay. So she immediately did one of her whatever, and then she went and sat down on the pull-out. And she immediately takes the attitude like she was trying to be magnanimous and gracious with me, which I'm sure she was, and I was refusing that, and she took it as a affront and an insult. And what she didn't realize, maybe she does kind of realize it, and I don't know, but she didn't seem to realize it, is that I still deeply love her, and I can't sleep next to her. And because the space was so small, the recliner was right next to the pull-out, so it would have been like we were sleeping next to each other. And I certainly couldn't alternate with the pull-out and sleep in the same space she slept, because then I would smell her, it would smell just like her, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't. I knew that I wouldn't be able to hold it together. She took it as an insult, but I was just trying to, not get any shit started, and just trying to, not give her a reason to mock me or put me down. When other people do that, it doesn't bother me. When she does it, it does hurt. And so I didn't sleep last night. I slept maybe an hour. I tried a couple different options, including laying on the floor, but my body is just too weak, too deconditioned. My muscle, my padding is gone. Uh, it's like I know what it feels like to lay on my skeleton. It's weird. And it just hurt too much to lay on that floor. I tried leaning up against the wall. I tried leaning up against the side rails of Joey's bed. None of that worked. I eventually took like 3 hospital pillows, stacked them in my lap, and I hunched over them and laid on my face. And I slept for about an hour that way. And then I was just awake. Joey woke up a couple of times coughing. I got him his sippy cup that they gave him, and he drank some Gatorade, and he went right back to sleep. So he had no issues whatsoever all through the night. Did great. They came in and told us that they were going to get the discharge paperwork together in about an hour or so at around 7. And then her boyfriend, Matt, got there a little bit before 8. And after he got there, she didn't say another word to me. I hadn't spoken to her again until this afternoon when she sent me a picture of Joey snoozing at her house. And Matt really seems to be a decent guy. So much better than the last asshole, you know. At least as far as treating Joey and treating her goes. He was running back and forth yesterday, getting Joey cups of macaroni and cheese and different stuff that he wanted to eat. And he was running to get his and her food. And he even offered to grab mine because the only real option, there was an in-house cafe and there was a Firehouse Subs in the hospital. And the in-house cafe was almost twice as far, and the Firehouse Subs was really far. And he even offered to get my food for me, and I thanked him, but I said no, I got it. I said it's good for me. But it was good for me, but good Lord, that hike liked to kill me yesterday. They discharged Joey. We got everything packed up and we headed out. Joey was so excited to be leaving. I followed them out. You gotta walk. You gotta be on the second floor and go through a flyover, a sky bridge, footbridge between the second floor of the hospital and the second floor of the parking garage. And I followed them out and helped Joey get loaded in the car and gave him, hugs and said goodbye and I'll talk to him tonight and all that, and how proud I was of him. And she had gotten right in the car in the driver's seat. She didn't say a word to me. But Matt was the last to get in the car, and I said thank you for taking care of him, helping to take care of him the way you did. And he said, "You're welcome. It was my pleasure." And as much as I hate it, as much as it hurts to have this other guy in his life, to have this other guy spend time with him that I'll never get back, it's more reassuring to know that the other guy at least isn't an asshole. Still kind of a beta cuck that can't seem to accomplish simple man tasks, but He's not an asshole. He's good to Joey, and that's all that matters. I watched them leave. Got a little bit teary. Went back over the Sky Bridge and waited in the lobby of the hospital for like an hour and a half for my folks to get there. And they finally got there about 11:30. And I hobbled back across the Sky Bridge again, and they came and picked me up by the elevators. Not 15 minutes after we left, the steering wheel started snatching to the left when my mom hit the brake. I knew immediately what this was because it had happened to me before. And I was starting to smell something burning. So we got off the road so I could check. Getting down on that asphalt was extremely difficult and painful. But I was able to verify that what had happened was the brake caliper on the driver's side front wheel was freezing up. So if you don't know, on your wheels, you've got your hub, which is the center portion of the wheel where the studs are situated, and that's where the wheel bolts to the hub. And sitting over top of the hub is, on a vehicle with disc brakes, a big metal disc, and that is called the rotor. Very high polished edge, usually like 6 inches or so in diameter all the way around. And then the brake caliper sits or mounts in different ways to the hub assembly, and the brake caliper has a hydraulic piston in it, and you have 2 brake pads, and one of them fits over each side of the rotor disc. And what happens is when you hit the brakes, you apply pressure to the master cylinder, which pumps brake fluid, hydraulic fluid, into the calipers, which causes the calipers to close on that rotor, and that's how you stop with disc brakes. Drum brakes work very differently, but I'm not going to explain that. There's no need, and I'm almost out of time. And this is like I said, it's a hydraulic piston, and they do go bad, they do fail, they do seize. That was my ring because my mom called me when I started to make this video, so I had to stop and talk to her. And I had snoozed my ring for 30 minutes, and it has caught up to me, so I'm going to try very hard to be very still so it doesn't bug y'all. And of course now my face itches. The caliper had seized, closed. We did get it to brake free by pumping the brakes, but I knew that wasn't going to last, that it was either going to seize closed or open. Closed, we're not going anywhere. Open, we only have one front brake. And the back brakes on this Jeep need to be done. I can't see to do it. Much more complicated than front brakes, so they haven't been done. So we really only have one good brake, and we had to go like 50 miles. Fortunately, there was an AutoZone not too far away where we were able to stop, get a new caliper, get the necessary tools. We did try to see how far we could make it after that. Instead, I was hoping beyond hope, that somehow by hook or crook we would make it here, and I could do it here, not have to open the new tools, because all the tools I bought today I had here. But we only made another couple miles down the road before it started pulling to the left again and pulling bad. We managed to pull over into a Lowe's parking lot, and I got down on the ground would not have been able to do this if my dad wasn't there. My dad helped me get the wheel on and off and was handing me tools. I was laying on the ground and I proceeded to disconnect everything. Pulled the old caliper and then put everything back together with the new caliper. Had to use the old pads because I didn't think to buy new pads because I was already kind of shot to shit. But everything went back together. It was as it was supposed to, and we got home without a hitch. She's stopping fantastically. And I'm really, really, really tired. So I'm gonna get in the house here in a minute and take my medicine and my insulin and all that, button up the house, and wait for Joey to call. I would just go upstairs and wait for him upstairs, but if I do that, I'm gonna fall asleep. I'm sorry I made the ring go off. So that's it. I'll jump back up on here tomorrow at some point. Maybe elaborate a little further. I had to go do something else with the surgeon today. I'll talk about that tomorrow too. I hope y'all are doing well and having a good evening. My GoFundMe, which I need more and more now, it will be in the description. And I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Have a good night. Bye-bye.